We can't wait to hear what he has in store for us tonight. Please welcome Dr. Jeremy Petranka.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I got things working. Thank you. I suppose I should start with that. This is actually a little bit nerve-wracking, which is kind of cool. I'm normally not horribly nervous when I teach, because I'm teaching what I know, kind of. Today, I'm not doing that quite as much. So I actually want to start with a few caveats. I want to set the bar appropriately low, but I can only go up. So a few things first. I said this before. I will say it again. It is the most sincere thing. People ask me, I repeatedly say I have the best job in the world. I love my job. I liked what I did before teaching. I love this, period. And when they ask me why, it's I love teaching at Carolina. I've already won the award, so I'm not. You guys are truly amazing, and you guys, I think you know that. If you don't, you should know that. But this means the world to me. Honestly, the fact that this many people showed up is astounding. So sincerely, thank you. Now, that being said, what is this award I won? And a colleague who is here actually sent me, Wikipedia, the source of all things information, this fact, that in Greek mythology, Chiron was held to be the superlative centaur among his brethren. Like the, how do you say that? Satyrs, I think. Centaurs were notorious for being wild and lusty, overly indulgent drinkers and carousers, given to violence when intoxicated, and generally uncultured delinquents. Chiron, by contrast, was intelligent, civilized, and kind. Now, I have a few questions for you. Are you saying that my colleagues are wild and lusty? Or are you saying you are wild and lusty and overly indulgent drinkers and carousers? And why can't I be wild and lusty? Because that seems fun. That seems very fun. So with that in mind, setting the bar low, Randy Pausch is what this was based on. And if you don't know his backstory, that's your first homework today. Learn his backstory. Is that he died, I believe, in 2008 from pancreatic cancer in the prime of his life. Brilliant researcher, brilliant man, brilliant advisor. And when he found out he had pancreatic cancer, he didn't just stop. One of the things he did is he had, I'm not sure if he started it or if they were running it at his university, but they had what's known as the last lecture. And in his case, obviously, it meant last lecture. And he went up and he basically said, the entire theme was, I'm not going to teach you, I believe physics was his field, I'm not going to teach you that, I'm going to teach you how to achieve your childhood dreams. And that's what this entire piece is based off. It's to some degree, give the life knowledge that I have, which, you know, I'll do my best. To some degree that's it, but either way, that's the idea and that's what started it. And so during his lecture, part of what's amazing in his lecture, he said, do not pity me. I have had an amazing life, and it is ending, but it's been amazing. And do not pity me because I'm probably healthier than you. And then he dropped to the floor and did push-ups. That will not be happening today. And then, to show that he was really healthier than you, he did one-armed push-ups. Also will not be happening today. So, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. But I will have a monkey wearing glasses. He did not. You guys win. So, that's called a teaser in the business. So, with all that being said, I do want to start with one caveat. I reserve the right. First, this is going to be a little bit preachier than my normal class. Not too preachy. But if this is the last lecture, I mean, honestly, as an economist, if this is my real last lecture, I am not here. I go to a beach because what can you do, fire me? So, I mean, we're economists. It's a backwards induction problem. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not here. That being said, it will be a little bit preachier. It'll be a little bit lessons in life, but with this caveat. I reserve the right for my 50-year-old self to look at what my 36-year-old self is saying right now and laugh and laugh and laugh. Because my 36-year-old self looks at my 20-year-old self and says, ha, 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 that wasn't right at all. In fact, I don't know if I like you, 20-year-old self. So I do reserve that right. I'm still reasonably young. I don't always feel it, but I'm still reasonably young, so I reserve the right for those that are older and wiser. Please just chuckle to yourselves when I say something that you go, well, that's not right. And he'll learn that when he's older. That right I reserve. So, that being said, what are we talking about today? Peace, love, and understanding. But not in that order. I'm starting with understanding. And I'm starting with understanding because understanding is the first step to acceptance. And only with acceptance can there be recovery. And I think everyone knows the philosopher that said this, and it's someone that's dear to a lot of our hearts. And that's Albus Percival Wilfrid Bryan Dumbledore. Know your audience. Relate to your audience. And so what I'm going to talk about, a majority of what I'm going to talk about is this idea of understanding. Is this idea of truly understanding. And that doesn't mean this leads to one answer or another. It means to understand. And I make this claim. I claim that in the 7 dirty words that we use as a society, there's more, but the 7 dirty words, we need to add one. And we need to add one that we are unfortunately have the deck stacked against us. We are built to use this word. We are evolutionarily designed to use this word. And we use it more than we ever realize. And that word is big T, they. Big T, they aren't as smart as me. Big T, they don't work as hard as me. Big T, they wear their pants too low. Big T, they. The big T, they don't care about women's choices. Big T, they don't care about life. Big T, they don't care about traditional marriage. Big T, they don't care about equality for all. Big T, they. But what I'm going to talk about for a good part of today is why big T there is there and how we break it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, but Dr. J, we are Carolina students. You just told us we're the best in the world, and I stand by that. We don't have big T theys. We are open-minded. We accept everybody. We love everybody. And I go, oh, really? Really? And I say this, but think about it. If you've ever had a Duke student in your class, and there might be some here today, do you really embrace them with the same warm embrace, or do you say you are, but they're still part of you? Every time they ask a question, do you go, those Duke kids? Every time they ask for extra credit, those Duke kids. And be honest with yourselves, even outside of athletics, which of course we must hate big T they, but even outside of that, if there was an award and 2 people you did not know, one's from Carolina and one's from Duke, who are you rooting for? And do you feel a little bit bad when someone from big T they wins it? Big T they is everywhere. We can't understand each other until we break the big T they. It's the first question we got to ask. The way to get to understanding is understanding. Hey, clever. The way to get to understanding is to figure out why it's there and figure out what we can do about it. Millions of years ago. We are monkeys evolving, having wonderful monkey lives, and there's a lot of them. And we are monkeys. And as monkeys, there's a lot of monkeys, but there's one banana tree. All banana trees. Monkeys love banana trees. Well, that's a problem, because there's a lot of monkeys. There's not that many banana trees. So what happens? Evolution starts happening. Genetic mutations start happening. That suddenly, what's the evolutionary advantage that comes out of this? Suddenly, some of our monkey friends, highlighted the speech, slightly evolve. And some of our monkey friends have this weird gene, this altruism gene, this what we think of as a nice gene. They have the us gene, the big U us. It's us now. And there's probably, if there's something changed in their brain, there's probably something that changed physically as well. And they can easily identify, you are one of big U us. Big U us, we're going to get that banana tree. The question for you is this: what's the next row? And I don't have clickers, which honestly petrifies me because I don't know what I'm going to do for 45 minutes without clickers. But it's going to be clapping instead. Go ahead, talk to each other if you haven't seen this before, and figure out what the next row is. I'll give you a minute or 2. Okay, I'm going to say last call. Last call. Again, we don't have clickers, so we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Please clap when I get to your answer. How many would have clicked A? How many B? How many C? How many D? How many E? I'm not expecting E to be. So, there was no consensus there, so a lot of you are wrong. I'm thinking E should have been the answer. Whoever clapped for D, hold on. It's not the answer, but I like your unique personality. Okay? So, let me now offer this. And again, this may or may not clarify it, but what I want you to think about is how are you thinking about this? Odds are you're saying, what do I know? Let me try to apply it here. Were you thinking of concepts like diagonal, like shapes of the top of a building, like addition, like multiplication? What creative things were you bringing into this that have nothing to do with this, but that's how we learn and that's how we think? Let me try it and see if it helps at all. Don't just think of these as numbers, think of them as numbers and words. See if that helps at all. Not talk amongst yourselves. It might not, but it's fun. It's fun. Okay, last call. Last call. Just for my own curiosity, let's see how we get. How many people think A? How many people think B? How many people think C? I need to be clapped more than once. I have no idea how loud that is. Let's try that again. A. Send an applause. B. C. D. E. Okay? People got more on this. How interesting. So, my name is B. Well done, B people. I've debated not telling you the answer, but my thought is, or why that's B. I could imagine you wouldn't listen to any other word that I said. So on the first row is 1, 1. On the second row is 2 1s. On the third row is 1, 2, 1, 1. And so on the next row, there's 1, 1, 1, 2, 2 1s. First row is 1. Second row, the first row before it, there's 1, 1 in the first row. In the second row, there's 2 1s. In the third row, there's 1, 2, and 1, 1. And now you see me go, I can now make this pattern go infinite. That's why learning categories fits. But come to understand each other. This is the problem. Because we're designed to figure out big U, us, and big T, they. And once we're designed to do that, our thinking is trying to put things into it. It's trying to put things into these buckets because that's how we're efficient learners. That's why we don't walk into this room and go, I've never seen this room before. Help me, please. There seem to be these things on the floor. They seem similar. I don't know what they do. Do I stand on them? Or do I poke them? This is what lets us do it. This is the idea. But that's bad for understanding. And it gets worse. But it's not just the case that we rationally try to do this. It gets worse because we don't know we're doing it. This is where the danger of the big T day comes in. A wonderful journal article called Monetary Favors and Their Influence on Neural Responses and Revealed Preference by Harvey, Kirk, Denfield, and Montague in the Journal of Neuroscience in 2010. They ran fascinating experiment. So an fMRI machine, it's a little cylindrical machine, they put you in, they tell you things, and they look at what your brain is doing. So not how you're verbalizing this, but they look at your brain. And they brought people in, and they said, basically, we're going to show you paintings while you're in the fMRI. And the paintings are going to be from two sources. From a gallery called Third Moon, or from a gallery called Lone Wolf. And each of them has their little icon. And then they said, before they started, just so you know, to get you here, not here, but to get you there, we paid you. It's either $30, $100, or $300. We paid you. Before they started, they said, just so you know, the following experiment is sponsored by, and they randomly picked one. For instance, Third Moon. Third Moon, they're providing the money for this experiment. That's it. No obligation to Third Moon, just letting them know. Just, I want you to know, they're the ones that paid for this. Great. And then they showed people paintings. Beside the paintings, not just showing the paintings, they put a little logo that implied the gallery was currently at. And that's it. They actually didn't tell them why they were there. They actually didn't tell them to judge the paintings. They just said, we want to watch your brain while you look at paintings. So they did this, then they did another one, they put Lone Wolf versus Third Moon. They showed the different ones. And then afterwards, after it was done, they said, now we'd like you to go ahead and fill out a questionnaire. tell us how much you liked each picture. How much you actually, really, just a Likert sphere, tell us you liked it. The ones from Third Moon, shockingly, they liked it. The ones from Lone Wolf, not so much. You think to yourself, well, of course. When you ask them, they start thinking to themselves, maybe I'm in a focus group. Maybe, that would make sense. If you told me that they paid for it, afterwards, if you're asking me, do I like it or not, then if I think to myself, well, I'm in a focus group, I feel bad telling you that your artwork sucks. So, okay, that's not what happened at all. Because the fMRI machine actually tells us what's happening in the brain. This isn't I'm rationally thinking through this and telling you what you want to hear. This isn't that. This is you actually like those paintings better. When they actually looked at it, they actually looked at the percent signal change in the brain activities, basically the pleasure zones, and they actually looked at the time. And so time 0 is when the painting flashed. What they found is for Lone Wolf, it looked like this, hardly registered. And these neural responses, these are what drive everything. A very large neural response makes you fall in love. You meet someone for the first time. A very large neural response imprints in your brain, I will never forget that. Very small neural response might do nothing. It's like, that's what that is. So this is Lone Wolf. This is Third Moon. The response is higher and lasts longer. And you actually like those paintings more. And this is random on every dimension you can imagine. It's not like some paintings were actually better. They mixed and matched everything. You like these paintings more. Why? Because they sponsor you. Because they're us. Because they're giving you us. They're helping us. That altruistic gene kicks in. They're one of us. I like it better. That Lone Wolf, that's big T. They're not us. They're not paying me. And this, when they were in the machine, they weren't told that they were even supposed to be judging the paintings. They were just shown the paintings. And this came out. They actually liked them more, not just said they liked them more. That's trouble. We want to put things in categories. We think in terms of categories, but once they're in categories, we stop thinking. It is the case that once it's big Q us, everything you say, I like it. And once it's big T they, everything you say, and that's trouble. It's worse. It's big T they. It's the idea that we see something different than us, and our gut reaction is to put it into something different. It's to make them something different. It's to put it in a category that somehow makes them less than big than us. And that's the problem. And it gets worse. This is my parents. You might never in your life have the opportunity to have about 200 people give your parents a round of applause. I have that opportunity. Please give my parents a round of applause. Now, I might think, how nice. But I also might think, why didn't you stand up? These are my parents. They are clearly good at what they do. Why didn't you stand up? What are you one of them that don't understand social norms? Are you one of them that don't like my parents? Why didn't you stand up? And that is an honest question. Anyone, please don't say I don't like your parents. But anyway, honestly, why didn't you stand up? Because no one else is standing up. And guess what? If everyone around you jumped to your feet, Petranka's parents, you're excited. Petranka's parents, let's jump up and clap. Then if you were the only one sitting down, you know what? You probably would have gotten up. Now, does that mean that if I give this speech at another university and they jump up, that they are the ones that they're us? That they're the standing ovation type? That's them. And it's you guys don't understand. Authority and respect and love. You can't understand. Or is it something else? And it's the something else that's the problem. We are bred to want to put things into categories, but most of life, we're all the same. But we have a different world around us. We have different things affecting us. You all didn't stand up because you all didn't stand up. You all, if you had stood up, all stood up because you all stood up. Doesn't make you any better or worse or different. Your environment changed. And this is where we need to bring in a little bit of game theory to start really identifying what the problem is. So, most of you know this. For those in my current 410, you actually have to see this yet. So, I'm doing something new. But what is game theory? For those in the front row that have never taken my class, it's just a study of strategic interactions. So it's not how to win chess, it's not how to win checkers, it's not how to win poker. It's just what happens when I do effects that you do effects when I do effects that you do at once. Well, that can be hard to figure out. And so we need an approach for that. Well, if you think about it, you clapping affects the person beside you clapping, affects you clapping, affects the person beside you clapping. So how's that going to resolve? So we need some structure to kind of look at this. And so again, if this is going to be my last lecture, you better believe I'm talking about game theory. So with a normal form game, just for those that aren't in the know, you need three things. I probably think you guys know this out, but you need to know who's playing. Easy. You need to know the strategy space. What can they do? How can they play? You need to know what the payoff they're going to get when every possible outcome of strategies. So what will they win given each combination of their strategy and their opponent's strategies? So because my parents are here and I have not taught them game theory, we should demonstrate the game theory. So this is what we're going to do. This is a self-hand-in-the-air question. And it is a self-hand-in-the-air question that you cannot change your answer once your hand is up. And I will have a class bouncer checking this. A class bouncer with a little bit of skin in the game. So, on the count of three, and I will read the options to you first, I want you to proudly and powerfully raise your right or left hand in the air. If more than 90% of you hold your right up, proudly in the air. Anyone currently in my 410 class is going to get an extra 2% clicker bonus. The Carolina Econ Club is going to get $20. Now, for those who don't know, the Carolina Econ Club does really fantastic things for the econ department. Besides giving some of that money back in the form of trivia prizes and pizza and other things, they also get fantastic speakers. So it can actually help everyone. Great. 90% hold your left up, I'm going to give $100. Carolina Econ Club. My current students get zilch. Except for the benefits of the Carolina Econ Club. Which are many. Oh, and if neither of these things happen, nothing. I don't have to pay a dime yet. Are there any questions about this game? Okay. I need to make sure you guys don't cheat. Because I don't have my class bouncer. It's a little awkward, I don't see a single cell phone and I don't have a class bouncer. That's incredible. So, I need somebody that's going to turn around and make sure you guys don't change your answer once your hands are up. I need somebody that every time I teach uncertainty in class, and I do a $50 gamble, and I come home and say, honey, I just lost $100. I need somebody that goes, yeah? I need somebody that doesn't like it when I pay all this money. Please give my wife a round of applause. Turn around. Give that one. Yeah. If she sees any of you change your answer, I think not. That's all she's going to do. Just check to make sure when you proudly put one of your hands in the air, keep it up. Good? Do you understand your role, dear? Good. You do not want to mess with this one. Okay? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, please keep them up. Now do me a favor. If your right hand is up, put it down right now. If your left hand is up, keep it up. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, that's not my business. Oh, please put your hands down. I apologize. I'll still probably go to the Carolina Econ Club. Current 410 class we'll talk about. Thank you. Round of applause. Now, what game theory says, well, how do we expect this game to form equilibrium? How do we expect it to stabilize? And obviously, if we played that again, I don't think we would have seen the same outcome. And I think eventually we would have gotten to one or the other. We would have gotten to everyone holding their right hand up. You know, everyone gets a little bit of benefit. Or everyone holding their left hand up. By the way, thank you for proudly holding your hands up. It's very enthusiastic. And that's what game theory is about. It's asking ourselves, well, how will this game resolve itself? How do we expect this? What you do depends on what other people do. How will it resolve itself? And so we can show this normal form game in actually a simplified form. So imagine instead of all of you, there are just 2 of you. And with each of you, I said, look, in this case, the normal form game is going to be the set of players. So in this case, it's every player in the room. The strategy space, right hand, left hand, in theory, because there's no hand. And then the payoffs are what exactly we said. But I could have showed this a different way. There's just 2 of you. I could have said, look, let's say this is player 1. If player 1 can play left, player 2, excuse me, 1 can play right. And then there's the second player. Player 2 can play left, player 2 can play right. And then the intersection of each, let's just say the payoff. So just to make this easy, let's say all the lefties, if everyone plays left, then player 1 is going to get 100. So assume they're in their left defense club. And player 2 is going to get 100. Now, if one plays left and one plays right, no one's going to get anything. One plays left and one plays right, no one's going to get anything. If they both play right, one's going to get 20, the other's going to get 20. If you look at this, this starts introducing some interesting elements. In particular, let's first ask where we expect stability to happen. So how do we do stability in game theory? The simplest form is what's known as the Nash equilibrium. Here's what Nash equilibrium says. Look, don't worry about how people play the game. Don't worry about how people think. Don't worry about any of that. If you can find a set of strategies where no one by themselves would deviate, that's the minimum requirement. So look, it could be that a group of people will actually want to do something else. The minimum requirement is we're claiming it's stable, we're claiming it'll stop at a rating, and that's where we're going to be constant. No one person will want to go, wait a minute. No, I don't want to do that. If finally stable out, everyone will want to be doing what they're doing at that time. And so we say, okay, what's the Nash in this game? And I claim, you know what, left is the Nash. We can prove that. In particular, if player 1 is in fact playing left, what should player 2 do? Well, if they play left, they're going to get 100. If they play right, they're going to get 0. They're going to play left. So player 1's playing left, player 2's going to play left. If player 2's playing left, player 1 going to do? 100. All right, if they play right, they get 0. They're going to play left too. And sure enough, if everyone's playing left, everyone wants to play left. If you go up and ask somebody, why are you playing left? They're going to go because everyone else is playing left. You go, wait. I just walked around the room. Every one of you said you're playing left because everyone else is playing left. Okay? Problem. There's another outcome that's stable. This other outcome is worse for everybody. This other outcome, the right, is also stable. If player 1 is playing right, player 2 will want to play right. If player 2 is playing right, player 1 will want to play right. We can end up with any of these. And if you guys were all raising your, I forget if it's right or left, right hands, why are you doing that? Well, because everyone else is doing it. Me by myself, I can't do any better if I just raise my left hand, so that's great. Carolina, you got to get something 410's going to be a little bit happier. Everyone's happy. Well, they're both stable. There's a third that's stable too. People that have my 410 just thought that was a clever joke. So anyway, or not. So, here's the problem. The problem we have is these 2 outcomes. There's 2 different behaviors. Imagine we have a world now where 2 different groups end up with 2 different outcomes. So where do we see this? Fashion. What's fashion? Do fashionable male say? Like I said, my 20-year-old self is something. So, what is fashionable? It's whatever people say is fashionable. I swear to you in the 90s, I thought to myself, I watched Friends, and I said, okay, you can laugh at that by itself. But I swear to you, so they did have plenty of it, but I swear to you that I thought to myself, I don't see how hairstyles and clothes can get any more fashionable. Now, if you saw me then, you would understand my lack of fashion know-how. But I was sure. And you look back now and you go, you thought the same thing that I thought about people from the 80s. You go, oh, wow, that's funny looking. I guarantee you will look at pictures of you now and you'll go, oh my goodness, that's horrible. But at the time, it's fashion. Facebook. Why are you on Facebook? Because everyone else is on Facebook. You're the only person on Facebook. You're the creepy person in your basement on the computer by yourself. It's potentially okay. But these things happen all the time. Hey guy. And the problem is, this is where big Phi Day comes in. We have 2 possible behaviors we see by identical people. And if we look at 2 different worlds, and we say, Over there, they're standing, cheering for my parents. Over there, they're not. The lefties work hard. They understand what is right. They understand raising their left hand is right. They, big T, they are different. They understand. Those big T, they won't even raise their left hand. It's all about their right hand. It's got to be their right hand. They're not thinking about the fact they can make everyone else better if they raise their left. It's big T day. This is the problem with big T day. We are born and bred to put people in categories. We are bred for this, but the problem is life makes us do very different things. And it's rational, and it's reasonable, and it's us doing the best we can with what we got. But if we're looking at each other and trying to put you in a big T day, we can't understand each other. These are identical people. Even now, I'm guessing the people in my 410 class are going, damn it, why didn't they raise their hand? I want that curve. The people in the econ club are going, you're so selfish. The econ club helps all people. Anyway, it's what we're bred to do. And that's the problem. And it gets worse. Sorry, that's us. It gets worse when this isn't something like raising your hand or not raising your hand. It gets worse when this is something like working towards your education and not working on your education. Truly try to imagine being a 10-year-old. Having one parent who's working 2 jobs to try to support you. Imagine you're 10 and your food uncertain. You don't know if you're going to eat that day. Every day you wake up, you're hungry. Imagine you're 10 years old and you go to a school that maybe doesn't have the best teachers because they don't have the best students. They don't have the best students. None of your friends are talking about college. And your parent isn't talking about college. Ask yourself, what's your best response? Is it to work hard to this kind of imaginary piece that even if you work hard, if you don't have someone to help you and support you and give you that nudge when you need it, you can still get stuck. Everyone knows when you're learning that. If you get stuck here, you're not getting down in. So if you're in 5th grade and you start falling behind, can you even catch up? Truly put yourself in that environment and ask yourself, what would you do in your 10th? Would you really say to yourself, I'm going to work hard and go to college, or would you say, you know what? Look at life. What's best for me is just do what everyone else is doing. I'm not going to rock the boat. And then once you get behind, it's pride. It stays in the system. And yet, any one of you could have been that person. I have not met a person in my life that didn't basically want the same thing. They want to be loved, they want to be successful, they want their friends and family to be happy, they want to be better at their job, they want to be smart. I haven't met anyone. And yet they're still big feedback. You don't believe me? What were you imagining when I was telling that story? Is it race? Is it sex? Is it a group of people? What's your big feedback? That's where understanding comes in. It gets worse. Is Chuck's in the room? There it is. I'm picking on her because I know the answer. Could you do me a favor and just in general describe your friends? Yep, just overall big adjective. Chuck just described herself. And this is something that's known as homophily. It's the tendency of individuals to associate and bond with similar others. We do it all the time. This problem of doing what everyone else is doing just gets magnified in a network. What this is, the green dots are the white kids in the school, the yellow dots are the black kids in the school, the pink dots are neither the white or black kids. And this is their social network. The white kids tend to go with the white kids, the black kids tend to go with the black kids. Interesting fact is that there is a smaller third minority. They actually tend to be pretty diffuse among the two majority groups. This happens all the time. Ask yourself, who are your friends? They're probably going to be a whole lot like you, which is why you love them so much. Hey, they are great. They're funny, they're clever, they're smart. Why do I love Carolina students? Y'all are basically the same. You all help each other up. The competition just isn't nearly as severe here. You guys all find each other. It's not like you come to Carolina and just trip and find yourself here. You come here for a reason. You stay here for a reason. You fall in love with this place for a reason. It's you. It's so much easier to have friends that are like you because you don't have to worry about faux pas. You don't have to worry about social norms. You don't have to worry about anything. They're like you. Now imagine you're that 10-year-old. Don't know about college. You don't have the resources. And you pick friends like you. How do you get out? It's difficult. So to paper, the decision to go to college. Attitudes and experiences associated with college attendance among low-income students. The authors actually called people that took the SAT. So you think you can take the SAT, you're probably going to college. And they actually called them. They said, look, let me just ask you a question. Do you plan on going to college? That's it. So what they found is overall, 66% said yes, I am. But then you start breaking that down. And if they said that their parents were a source of info concerning college, just in general, that number went up to 77%. If your friends were a source of info, 74%. If your parents were a source of financing, 76%. You guys know about averages. If the average is 66, and these are all above 70, what's everything else? So to give you one subset, if you don't know what your father's opinion is, it drops to 58%. 20% difference is huge. It's about knowledge. It's about understanding. Every one of you could have been that student. Every one of you could be in that environment. And really, what's your best response? I would like to say that I will always behave according to what I view as my morals and my beliefs, but I know that they have been compromised, depending on the situation. I know throughout my life that there are times that, you know what, I have to do what was best for me. I did. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But you have to realize that everyone's just doing the best they can with what life has for them. Not only information, what about money? So what students and their parents know about the cost of college tuition, what they're doing to find out. This is the percentage of parents having obtained information or could estimate the cost of tuition. If your parents are making more than, your household is making more than $75,000, you don't really need to know this. You'll still figure out a way to pay for it, but 75% knew about it. 50 to 75,000, 66%. 25 to 50,000, 50%. Less than 25,000, 35% of the parents actually knew what college cost. The people that need to know the most know the least. Put yourself in that environment and ask the best responses. And ask, if we have a school where all the students aren't working very hard, is it because it is big P they aren't hard workers? Or is it because why aren't you working hard because they're not working hard? And you go around everyone and you realize they're us. That's understanding. And it gets worse. I promise this is the last one that gets worse before I get my motivation when it gets better. So I want to do, I think I have time for this. Instead of describing statistical discrimination, I actually want to demonstrate it, if you don't mind. So, according to the internet, Guinness Book of World Records at some point said the world's hardest tongue twister is six sheets. Now, and I forgot my iPad. Hold on a minute. Hold on, don't start saying it. Oh yes, let me do it. Don't start saying it. Don't start yelling, because I need to tell you what I'm going to do first. Excuse me, Dad. I did not come prepared, and I apologize. And we do not have a piano in the room, so I can pay somebody to buy time while I do this. So, here's what I'm going to do. If somebody in the room, it's not that I'm going to pay everyone, I'm actually going to pay that somebody. If they, when we pick the volunteer, can say this in less than 2 seconds, correctly, I will pay them. Just stop it. Stop, no talking. Now, I am going to allow you an opportunity to practice. In fact, you can start now. Wait a minute. Not you writers. Not you writers. You're not good enough for this. Your tongues don't even fit in your mouths. You writies, don't say a word. Please. But pretend I actually have some sort of control of this. Please don't say a word. I promise I will give you an opportunity to possibly make money. But don't say a word. Go ahead and practice. You, my left. Okay? Okay? I need a righty volunteer. Dude, come on up. Don't you guys know when I say I need a volunteer, someone's getting paid? All right. Now, the government has told me I am not allowed to discriminate against your righty. So I have to hire you now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hire you to hire the resource that has to do this. If you pick the person and they can do this, you get $20 for picking them. They get $20 for doing it. And if they don't do it, I keep the money. And she's happy. Do you understand? Okay. I need a volunteer from anyone. You pick. So give time for anyone who wants to volunteer, go for it. So, I am going to be in charge of the clock. You guys are going to be in charge of whether he actually says it correctly. Be honest, give him a little bit of flex, and you can just read it if you want. So, I will go 1, 2, 3. When I hit 3, I'm going to hit start. Make sense? 1, 2, 3. Well done, right? That was impressive. That actually demonstrated statistical discrimination better than I could have possibly imagined. Because it wasn't just that I had to ask him, why did you pick someone on this side? You guys know the answer. The answer would have been, why did you pick someone on that side? Because they've been doing this for a while. They're going to be better at it. But he clearly doesn't discriminate against righties. He's a righty. But yet he picked you. How it worked even better is not a single person raised their hand on that side. Not a single person volunteered. And you all know I pay my volunteers. Not a single person. We want to put people into groups. We want to separate them into groups. We want to treat people differently. And even when we start realizing, I don't want to be that way, it's in the system. It's because we put the big T they before. Think about those kids that 50, 100 years ago weren't getting the opportunities because they were righties. And then today comes, I don't discriminate, I'm not racist, I'm not sexist. But look at big T they don't even volunteer. Those righties don't even try. They didn't even attempt to do it. But the lefties, they did it. It gets in the system. So what does that mean? Understanding. Key to understanding is when you see different behavior at all, don't just try to walk a mile in their shoes. Understand you can't. You can't walk a mile in their shoes. You do not know the challenge. Every person that you think has a blessed life deals with self-confidence, deals with depression. Every single person, you cannot understand their challenges, their life, what's putting on there. Understanding is a matter of knowing you can't understand. Since I've been roughly 19, I've had a genetic disorder, early mediated hypotension, where there are weeks that I curl up before class more often than I don't. You cannot know the challenges people. Please don't pity their own life. But you cannot know the challenges that people have. Every person that you want to make big T they, recognize you don't know. Or maybe they are a they. Maybe there's someone that is just a mean person. I don't know that I've met that person yet. I know they exist, but I don't know that I've met that person. They have their life. They're doing the best they can. Understand that. You have understanding. I know what you're thinking. Dr. J, this lasted a while, and you still have love and peace to talk about. If you have understanding, and love and peace start taking care of themselves. So with love, what I want to talk about fairly shortly is really the idea of not necessarily loving each other, because if you understand each other, you start making big T they, big you us. And you start actually realizing we're all the same. We just have different lives. We have different games. So with love, With love, what I want to talk about is loving yourself. How do you love yourself? And I make the claim to love yourself, change your game. There's two outcomes, and the fact is, if I was in this world, if I was in that community, I would love myself. I would say to myself, we are all nice to each other, we all help each other out, we are all doing what's best for all of us. If I'm in that world, where I'm not acting the way I want to act, I'm not doing what I want to do, I'm doing the best I can, change your world. Change your day. How do you do that? I think there's three ways. The first, the easiest way. If you are in this world, move to that one. Now, what do I mean by that? Embrace being uncomfortable. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but the one thing, to my mom's says, that I'm very good at, once I developed it, was changing. Significantly at times. And I wasn't always that way. That when I was younger, I was deathly afraid of change. I also couldn't walk barefoot. This has nothing to do with each other. They do. The reason I couldn't walk barefoot is I was so afraid it would hurt, I was pretty much going to did. Put all your pressure on a rock, it hurts. And I actually read somewhere, it's actually when I was in high school, I don't even know why I would have read this, but I read somewhere to walk barefoot, spread your feet, spread your toes, lean into the pain, embrace the pain. When I did that, now I'm spreading it out. Now I can walk barefoot. And it took me a few years to apply that to my life. But at one point I finally said, you know what? I'm comfortable here. Change can be painful. But if you lean into it, it can be wonderful. For the most part, my life has been dictated since then by not just embracing this idea, but actually looking for where I'm going to be uncomfortable. And so if I'm looking at two things, and one of them makes me uncomfortable and one of them doesn't, do the uncomfortable. Within reason. But do the uncomfortable one. Your gut's telling you something. Your gut is telling you what you want to do. You know what you want to be. You know who you want to be with. Take the chance. Don't be afraid to pivot. Embrace the uncertainty. Lean into the uncertainty. Again, my 50-year-old self might say this is stupid advice, but for me, don't be afraid to do that. Because you might find your people, you might find your passion, you might find your love, you might find what you were meant to do. So that's one way. How else can you change the game, you might ask? Well, another way, which is probably even more difficult, is to make everyone know that being a righty is not tolerated. Making everyone know that being right is not something we should embrace. Being right is something we should embrace, and right means correct. But in this model, being right is not something we should embrace. This is wrong. And if you can get your people to understand that, and for their behavior to change, what ends up happening, that's not stable anymore. This isn't easy. I'll be the first to say it isn't easy. Carolina does do a fantastic job. Carolina students, they will stand up, and they will say, that's not right. We need to change this. Never lose that. Never be afraid to say, you know what, we have to stop. It might hurt. You might actually end up hurting yourself. But if you can make that change, everyone is better. Everyone starts loving each other. Everyone starts loving themselves. The last way to change, the one that really is, my view, the most important one to focus on, is what if you could just change the game so you don't really care about other people? So for me, I could almost put it on a calendar, but almost my entire perception in life changed. And it was the day that I realized that people are flawed. There you go. Now, you might think to yourself, that seems like a bad idea to love each other. But here's what I realized. Before that time, when I was younger, I had a lot of anger, I had a lot of fear, I had a lot of hate. And my natural tendency was when someone wasn't my friend the way I thought they should be, big T, they are not good people. Big T, they are something else. And there was a day that I realized, really, the realization for me hit me almost like a bolt of lightning. The release that I felt when it happened. Because I realized, wait a minute, maybe they're not big T, they're different. Maybe they're just not good at being a friend in the way that I thought they should be. Maybe that's just not a skill they have. Maybe they're not good at being a girlfriend in the way that I need. But back then, I don't need one now. I'd like to make that clear. Maybe they're just not good at that. And maybe instead of looking at this and thinking how they hurt me, maybe I could change my view and go, you know what? They're doing the best they can with what they got, and they're flawed. They're flawed humans, just like I'm flawed human. The day that I was able to do that, it almost magically turned to me. And suddenly, when I could forgive other people, and it's not even that I'm forgiving. It changed to there was nothing to forgive. You know what? They're just not that good at that skill. Okay, I can't find trust. They can't be a friend in a way that I thought they should be. But you know what? Maybe I can just love them for what they do have, for what they do well. I don't need everyone to be everything. Maybe I can do that. The day that I did that, it started turning to me. And suddenly, the entire way I viewed myself went from, there was self-hatred, there was all sorts of things that it went to, you know what? I'm flawed too. And I'm okay with that. I'm not the best husband all the time. I can aim to do better. But I can accept that. I'm not the best son all the time. I'll call my mom out. I can accept that. And I can try to do better. And realize everything that I was holding on to, why I wasn't good enough, and everything that I looked at the outside world said to me, you know what? I am flawed. And I will be the first to admit it, and I will embrace that. The only day that I will truly regret anything, well, I regret many things, but the day that I will not regret changing is on the last day that I'm here. Every other day, when I'm flawed, I embrace it. I say, you know what? I'm flawed. All I can do is learn from this and do better. And keep doing better. But love yourself. Understand that you can forgive yourself. You can love yourself. And that'll start coming onto you, and it'll start coming on to other people. They're not Big T Day. They're us doing the best they can. And again, I reserve the right for my 50-year-old self. So, the last piece, thing that I talk about is peace. Say I'm a dreamer. And this is, this is fast. So this would be Petranka one-step guide to world peace. Don't hurt each other. Questions on the peace portion of today's presentation. So with that, I leave you with homework. And the homework is this. The homework I request you do is ask yourself, who are your Big T days in your life? And start breaking that. As you go forward, catch yourself putting people into those Big T days and stop. Don't understand them, but understand you might never be able to understand what their life is like. You can't walk a mile in their shoes. You don't know. It doesn't mean what they're doing is right, but it helps you understand that they're coming from a very different place. Start doing that. Start looking at people that have hurt you before. And if possible, say, you know what, especially on some of the smaller hurts, maybe they're just not really the way I need to do with that skill. And that's okay, because I'm flawed. Start forgiving yourself, start loving yourself as you guys go forward. Be dangerous, be unpredictable, making a lot of moves. Thank you very much for letting me.